Yes, people, welcome back to Soccer Perspective. Welcome back to what I believe will be one of the most exciting World Cup finals ever seen, given the two players involved in Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe, plus the two countries involved. It will be an exciting World Cup final indeed. And it has been overall, it hasn't ended, but you could argue it's been successful, colorful, and everything. Lots of surprises. But today we get to see who becomes the world champion of the current edition of the World Cup. Let's get into it. Thank you so much again. If you're watching, if you haven't, take a second to drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I know we don't have too many people watching at this point, probably because we haven't streamed in a while, but it's okay. I have Bobby already in the house. Bobby, big up to you too. How are you doing, brother? Okay, he still has his device on mute. Whenever he comes in, I will bring him back in. And like I said, I believe deep down that this will be one of the most exciting World Cups ever seen. We'll have one of the youngest players ever to have, played in the final on two occasions. It's about, let me not just be pulling out the record from my wazoo, but Pele probably in the younger age played twice, but I don't want to get into that. But Mbappe, in the recent years, has been the youngest and again has been one of the best players in the world. Leo Messi also one of the best players, and you can say he needs to win this one to complete his trophy cabinet. Bobby, how are you doing, brother?
Hi, coach. Yeah, I'm so upset with you. There have been so many of these live watch alongs that I
Yeah,
was hoping you'd connect with.
yeah, I
So I
understand, but
guess
more
coming to
importantly,
the final is better than
yeah,
nothing.
I have to be healthy first. That's the thing.
Oh, if I keep forgetting, yes, I'm sorry.
I have
How
to
are you
be healthy.
feeling now?
Everybody in my household has been sick. Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah, are you looking forward to this one, Bobby? Like I said, I think it's going to be exciting. Really, really exciting. Given two teammates, actually, I forgot to say that they both still play for PSG. I know there are rumors that Messi will be leaving for Inter Miami, but PSG are saying they want to keep him and that he's happy there. So, Bobby, are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I posted something on Twitter um, just now that this is one game that I really don't know who's going to win. And that's part of the intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people speak a lot about Messi and, how they want him to win a World Cup. And,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's rigged, life doesn't always work like that. And
No,
the
it
French
doesn't.
are
You
not.
can't script. Mm-hmm.
They have their own star, rising star in Mbappe, and they have a very, very, very good team. Apart from the defense, that's a little bit shaky, and their goalkeeper, which could mean all the difference in this game. But I don't know. I really don't know. I just hope they give us a thrilling final,
Mm-hmm.
and as they say, may the best man win. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
somehow inside myself, um, and not that I'm particularly so bent on it, but inside I kind of fancy the French. I think they can do this. I really do, and I think it will be nice for them if they win the World Cup back to back because that hasn't been done since first of all Uruguay and Brazil in '62, which is a very long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I must say the truth remains on paper. I think the French is the stronger side. But if you understand, if you know the Argentine players very well, from Alvarez to Fernandez to De Paul, they have good players. The Di Maria, you can't write him off. He's that sort of player on occasions where you think because I don't think he didn't start the last game, not because he's injured. He's that sort of player when you think he's not going to do anything, then he springs up some magic there. He's capable of doing that. So, yeah. But the French, as much as I say going forward, attacking wise, Griezmann has been magnificent for them. Even Rabiot, he's been magnificent too. The only suspect there in terms of not offensively, but providing a good shield, providing a good shield for the back four has always the issue there has always been Chomeni, and you can say it comes down to lack of the experience. That is the experience he doesn't have, but still he gets the job done. It's I'm not sure why because France hasn't they haven't really played with a 4-3-3 structure. So they played mainly with 4-2-3-1, I think. And these two teams, but that's by the way, these two teams, if we look at their group stage performance, it wasn't excellent. That's just the best way. Argentina lost their first game. France lost their last game. I think it was to Tunisia. Correct me if I'm wrong. France lost. Argentina lost their first game to Saudi Arabia, and most people thought they were out. I knew they were gonna make it out of the group, and they will even top the group with 6 points, and they did so. And ever since, again, you could say they've become stronger as the tournament progressed. But this one really is talk about that. Talk about the should I say crochet or the usual. You cannot script this game. I think this game is one. Even when you look at it, it'd be difficult to say what will happen there. For the Argentines, they're not good at defending set piece. I've seen that during the group stage. They struggle to defend set piece, and I don't know how they're going to deal with Olivier Giroud. But let's look at the lineups overall for Argentina. Back, it says it's a 4-4-2. I'm not sure that's the structure. Maybe when the game starts, we'll get to understand what structure it is exactly. They have Tagliafico. They have Otamendi. He's a strong man. Really too, he's good, but still, they still struggle defending set piece. And Olivier Giroud, which I wasn't sure was going to start this one due to he had a knock. Surprisingly, he starts. So it's a plus for the French national team. Romero starts. Molina starts. And in the midfield area, centrally you have Fernandez, you have the Paul, and then on the right hand side you have Di Maria, which is where he's very very dangerous. He can always drift in and take a very good shot, and he's a fine finisher on this day. On the left hand side you have Mac Alista, the two up front, Messi and Alvarez. Surprisingly, was the former Juventus man. He doesn't get game time. A lot of Paulo Dybala. I don't know if the reason being that he's just recovering from an injury or he just recovered from an injury. I'm not sure. Yeah, even Lautaro Martinez doesn't get to start. But again, you could say Alvarez has been brilliant too. He's done quite well for them. He's got the pace, an eye for goal, plus the commitment you see from him on the pitch is good. But the midfield area, they're not the most physical. Chouameni himself isn't the most physical. So if Chouameni plays as a lone man in the central area for the French side, um, I'd be surprised if he does quite well there. I think it will be a double pivot, but let's see. But back four for them, they have Varane, who I was again. I'm surprised as to how well he's done. He didn't start the competition due to an injury he had when playing for Manchester United, but he's shown that again. That actually hasn't an issue. It just seemed as if he didn't go anywhere. Upamecano, you can say I've seen a bit of you can say shaky performances, but I think he's solidified his place and he's done quite. Excuse me. He's done quite well. Hernandez also some good performances from him. Kunde also he's done quite well. Griezmann for me he's been excellent in this competition. Even though at Atletico, correct me if I'm wrong, uh, he plays further forward, even sometimes as a number nine or on the flanks, but he's played centrally as a midfielder for France. And believe me, you could say he's been one of the best players. But the truth remains, he doesn't have goals to show for it. But even at that, he's been a brilliant performer for them in this competition. Same thing as Rabia. Again, you could say the only suspect there who's been a bit shaky every now and then. Although you could say overall he's had a solid performance, it's so many. Um, yeah, but Rabia, yeah, Rabia has been great. You could, for me, like I said again, one of the best players in this competition has been Griezmann. His vision, he helps them control the game. Again, if he shows up to the party, France they play. So hopefully it will be is that I hope to see again. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, but I'm like every other person who wants Leo Messi to win, to add that trophy to his trophy. Again, very rich trophy cabinet indeed. Dembele for me, I don't know. I wouldn't say it hasn't been again. He's gotten the job done, but you could say it hasn't been an excellent tournament for him. Sometimes his productivity has been poor. I'm not sure why. Well, this is for La Liga, but for this competition proper, I'm not sure how many goals does he have. I'm not sure. Again, his numbers in this competition proper. So, but for me, Dembele, it hasn't been that good. But I think in that position, you could say he's the best player they have. He's been in some games. You could say he's been poor. Even can put in a few. Can put in a good number of or measure of process if you prefer. Mbappe has been excellent. This has been an excellent competition for him, except for the last game where you could say surprisingly, I wouldn't say it wasn't an underwhelming performance, but he didn't measure up to that, our expectation we usually see. But that's by the way. Let's see. Look at these teams here. Like I mentioned before, Argentina lost their first game to Saudi Arabia, and it wasn't like it was a fluke. Saudi played very well. Even most people expected them. Most people started again saying that they will go far in the tournament, given how well they played on the day. And then but after that loss, they went ahead to beat Mexico 2-0. They beat Poland 2-0. Again, the rest is history. They've grown from strength to strength since the competition started. I wasn't surprised. The first result, first loss to Saudi Arabia in the group game, in the opening group game, was a shocking to me. But after that, I knew more like to me, I did see it as a wake up call. And indeed, it was a wake up call because they've grown from strength to strength. For France, they started very well. They beat Australia 4-1, beat Denmark 2-1, and then lost to Tunisia in the last group game. That was a shocking to many people. But again, I didn't expect them to. They've qualified already, and I think before then, no matter the outcome of that game, they still top the table given all the results. But that's by the way. Roger, how are you doing, brother?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's still morning to me. It's still 6:10
Oh, I
a.m.
apologize. I'm so sorry.
You
Good
don't
morning.
have to. I know. It's afternoon where you are. So yeah.
How are you?
Are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, very much so. It's going to be an intriguing match, I think. Hello, Bobby. Um, yeah, I have
Hey,
no idea.
Roger.
How are you doing, sir? I have no idea how this is going to go. This has been a great World Cup in so
It's
many
me.
regards. Yeah,
Mhm.
the amount of upsets. I just think entertainment value as a neutral, I've watched so many games and then been thoroughly enthralled. It's been tactical. It's been everything that I wish for and then some. Um, I you know I wasn't impressed with Argentina that much initially, but they've grown as the tournament has progressed, which is a good sign. It kind of reminds me of Spain in 2010, um, and France. You can't include that third game because they had already qualified, so it was basically a
Yeah.
substitute. Yeah, so France. I was actually quite shocked, and we have to take into account. Let's be honest here; they are missing quite a few starters and substitutes, about 4 or 5, I'd say, that are
Hmm.
world-class players. So
Hmm.
that's why they don't have one of the top 2 or 3 benches right now. It's because most of their bench players are starting right now. So, but they did disappoint me a bit. I mean, from a neutral's perspective against England and indeed against Morocco, where they were to coin
So,
a
which are the
box
teams that you're talking about?
chance. Because they were on the ropes a few times to coin a boxing phrase, which is good if you could absorb pressure. Don't get me wrong, but I was expecting them to be more dynamic in so many regards. But you know what? They have the firepower You know, both of these teams can do quite a lot. I actually thought, to be honest with you, I thought based on what I saw with um, the quarter final, I
Hmm.
thought the semi final that Argentina may actually lose because of Modric in that midfield. I thought they could lose that game. Um,
Well,
so
they
I
had
don't
a
know.
good game overall,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, it was a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I predicted that, to myself that I thought that they would win. I didn't think Argentina would get to the final, but they have a certain number 10 that's how can I put this? He's one of the greatest. I don't know about the greatest, but he's up there. Um, it's going to be a very interesting game.
Yeah, a lot of factors makes it an interesting game, exciting one indeed. If you want to put it that way.
The only
Um,
bad thing, coach, is that most finals aren't that entertaining because of the pressure is so vast getting there, and no one wants to make the mistake to and it's usually a lot of 1-0s or whatever. You've gone are the days of
yeah, there aren't too many goals in finals. Yeah.
no, and like you look at the third place games, invariably the shackles are off. They're just playing for fun. You can tell there's very little. The shirt is not heavy for either teams, and you see a lot better, more entertaining matches in the third place games invariably.
Hmm.
Um, so I would like just for once for this to be a great World Cup final because that hasn't been the case historically.
Yeah, I think a
From
lot
a
of
neutral's
factors.
perspective, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of factors want again. A lot of factors will make it, and again, you could say an exciting final. I'm looking forward to a very exciting final, entertaining overall. Given the fact that Kylian Mbappe and Leo Messi are two of the best players that are still playing the game right now.
Oh yeah,
Plus, they play for the same club.
yeah.
Messi also. I think this is one of those games you'll see him play his heart out. He will play his life, the last drop of his blood, because he needs it. And this is the last chance he has to get it, to add this to the list of trophies and all in his trophy cabinet. Those things again, and if you look at the Argentine team, to Di Maria, I think this is his last chance. Or Tamendi, this is his last chance. But for the French national team, you could say yeah, a lot of them have won it there. A lot of them they have won it. I think Varane have
Well,
won it.
actually,
Griezmann
only
has.
eight out of the 26 players I heard on the commentary actually were
Mhm.
involved 4 years ago. So this isn't a lot of group of veterans. They're missing quite a few players. Don't forget.
But
So
that's still a large number, really.
no, don't get me wrong. It's eight more than England's got.
Yeah. So how again? How important do you think? Let me just say. I know we already know. Do you think this a final is for Leo Messi?
Okay, I want to say something.
Hmm.
I personally, this is just my individualistic opinion. I don't believe that you're talking about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I don't. This is an individual, adoration, and I don't believe that applies to a team sport. Like for instance, hypothetically, if Messi was born in, let's say, Finland, he's never winning a World Cup, sir. He's just never. Or if he's born in Montenegro, he's never winning a World Cup. You can be the greatest player ever, and you only like George Best didn't even qualify for one. He's never going to playing for Northern Ireland. George Weah, another great player. It's. I don't believe he has to win this to be crowned the greatest of all time.
I think he has. I think he has. Here's the thing.
He
I think
has
he's
or
still
has
he's
to.
still be
You
up
mean?
there.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
but that again, if you're being very specific as in him as an individual,
yeah.
when you talk about Pelé, you say he's the best footballer ever. You can't say that about him if he doesn't win it.
Sure, but you have to understand that what happens if Pele was born in Montenegro? Then what? Or
Yeah, but we're not
Liechtenstein?
gonna go into that. It didn't happen. It didn't
No,
happen.
no,
That's
but
as
it's
simple as that.
pertinent. No, but it's pertinent, sir, because You know, it's not a skill factor based on where you were born.
Yeah.
Do you understand my logic, my point of view?
Yeah, I'm
It,
with you.
yeah, it's so that's a lot of luck. That's a lottery. You know,
I
that's a
have a point
lottery.
to add to all this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
go ahead,
hit me.
Bobby. Whenever you can come in, whenever you want to. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bobby.
slap me
Yeah,
upside down.
I as always, I'm always, Roger's my brother. We always think alike.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But I
mostly.
want to add something about this because as you were talking, I was reflecting. And what really triggered me was when Roger said this has been a great World Cup. And indeed it has. I
Yes.
think it has. I think it's
It
been a
has been an
very good
excellent World
World
Cup,
Cup.
actually. Lots of
It's been
surprises
well
and all that.
staged,
Mhm.
well conducted.
Politics
And
aside,
certain irritations came up in me about this
VAR.
World Cup.
For me,
And that
VAR.
is that the woke political brigade
Yeah.
came to try and destroy this World Cup by attacking these people and their culture and their way of life and
Yep.
their beliefs. It doesn't have to be mine, it doesn't have to be yours. Where there are some things where there were direct infringements on humanity, like how they treated some of these workers, okay, one can mention that, but everything else is irrelevant. We have no business lecturing to these people.
Oh,
And
sure.
I'm just glad that as the World Cup went along, we focused on what we were there for, which was the football. But you see, there's something about all this. This is why I'm also not on this messy train. Oh, he has to win the world. I don't care whether he wins it or not, to be honest. He's a
Neither do
great
I.
player. These are two
Yes.
great sides, very threatening in attack, and anything can happen. But I did have to laugh at Argentina coming out with their little symbols on the side of their tracksuits, saying what I don't know. This is a country that, where are your indigenous people? Where are your black people? Let's go there. You want to start lecturing to people about how to behave? Let's have a look at you and what you have done as a nation. I mean, this is why we shouldn't be going into these things. They're coming out to preach to the world of their virtue of, oh, we're free and that. They were built on genocide. To this
Yes.
day, they don't have any of these people. You don't even see them in their football team. In fact, if you really want to look into the history of that, it is abhorrent. It's shameful. So let's not go there. You know,
Uh,
And let's not
this is
let
one
them
of the
distract
reasons
us,
I've
actually.
always been put off
Mhm.
Argentina. I think they are a very weird nation with very weird, archaic, racist ideologies. And, people tend to sweep it under the carpet. But now that they are trying to preach to us, I think it should be exposed and they should be exposed for what they are. And this is what people do to tarnish the beautiful game.
well,
The
you'll
beautiful
find
game
most
should never
countries are
have anything to do
hypocritical.
with politics. But if you
Yeah,
want to
I
go
agree.
there,
Or Olympics too, for that matter, especially when it comes to
absolutely.
amateurs. Especially when it comes now, I understand that. Listen, there's always two sides to a coin with politics and sports, and especially when there's genocide or human rights abuses, etc. I get it. I get both sides of the coin. But first and foremost, this is a football tournament, and its main objective is to. It's an entertainment industry, isn't it? But as
Absolutely.
fans, and as avid fans from either your clubs or your nations, you're there to either view or to watch the game in person, which is a beautiful thing. But there's so many external factors that dilute and contaminate the sport, and you're right, Bobby. I can I can't even remember the last time I even thought that I don't agree with you on anything. Maybe do you like mushy peas? Because I hate them. you know.
Actually,
Oh,
last time I had mushy peas was when Chelsea played West Ham, and I went into one of the old, those old East End
yeah,
cafes that they used to have,
yeah, yes,
where you
indeed.
get your
With
jelly
luncheon
deals, and
voucher.
which I
With
can't
luncheon
stand.
voucher.
Yeah,
England's a
mushy
little.
peas, and yeah,
so,
I had
so
some mushy
can I just
peas.
say
I
one
like
thing
mushy
about
peas actually.
I hate them. Can I just say one thing? That we disagree on something, Coach. Can I just say one thing about this World Cup? There's two things that I observed. One is the lack of alcohol, which is great because if you notice, if you've seen like
No violence.
zero, I
Yep.
mean, if you have a look at that, like I can't remember if it was the BBC or some news channel was showing that they had a montage of all the crowds meeting at the intersections
Together.
of their new train system, their tube system, however you want to term it, their
Yeah.
transportation system, and it reminds me of America.
Yeah.
Where you can take your children, like a 1-year-old, to a baseball game and there's no violence. It's just it's hot dog or popcorn and it's a family outing. And this is what this World Cup looks like. It's
Another
refreshing.
caveat to that, Roger,
Yes,
is
sir.
I must say is that along with the no alcohol, they do have a penalty of I think it's like 500 lashes for antisocial behavior. So
Yeah, that
they've
could be a
got
deterrent.
they got the hooligans in check, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. But I just want to say who knows whether they had served alcohol, maybe we would have seen the same result. Regardless, you can tell virtually it's ubiquitous that virtually everyone has said what they called it, a carnival atmosphere and experience. And that is so wonderful to see. It should have been like this for every single match and every single game ever played in the world, ever in the history, in any sport.
All I gotta say is this. I wish we had more time. I think
Yeah.
we'll review the World Cup overall.
Sure, can I
We'll
just
do a
say,
show and review, but now we have just a few minutes to talk about the lineup.
sure, can I just say one thing, Coach, really quickly? Just give me 10 seconds. The other thing is, it's so they're so geographically close to each other that a lot of the fans I've always seen in interviews can actually go to multiple games and experience it as opposed to traveling thousands of miles. I think that's something that in 4 years' time that the general public would not be afforded that luxury. So those are my two observations. Sorry, Coach. Please continue.
No need to. Bobby made a good point. It's just that we have just a little time here to analyze the lineup and talk about the game proper. Again,
we need to have a show about football in general soon, I think.
Yeah, we will. That's why Soccer Perspective are here. But we need to review the World Cup overall, how well they did. There's quite a lot to learn. For instance, the point that, again, no alcohol. I think you say lack of, again, you could say problems. You could, like the hooligans and all that.
Sure.
It's directly linked to lack of alcohol. It's common sense. Because when you drink, your judgment is impaired.
Sure. It's just a wonderful thing to see and observe that everyone is enjoying themselves.
Yeah. So, Roger, bringing it back to the game, looking at the two lineup, I don't know how well you know. At the Argentine, you could say most of the players there weren't that popular until this World Cup. But for the French players, they're everywhere in the world. All of them on the pitch. They're very, very popular. But looking at the two sides, which of the sides do you think is better equipped to win this final?
Sir, I think if they play 10 times, it's probably gonna be 8 draws and 1 victory each, so to speak. Do you see what I'm saying? As I said, France has been depleted somewhat in its depth, so that's a bit unfair to them. But they're still so talented in so many areas, and you can say the same for the most part in Argentina. They got a great goal. In fact, they both had great goalkeepers, even though Lloris is, shall we say, not immune from the occasional faux pas. They just have solid players. I understand that Argentina's got an aging backline and so forth, and they're not the youngest of teams. Other than that, they've got world-class players. I'm a bit surprised. Is Di Maria, is he hurt? Because he's hardly played lately.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is.
He's
but then
got a
again,
knock or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure really, but I'm glad to see him on the pitch. That makes it an even better, exciting game because he's a fine player overall.
Oh, yeah, he's
a fine finisher. Sorry, Bobby.
The thing about international football, especially World Cup football, is that because of the way the football is played and officiated, it allows individual players that, for example, in our leagues tend to look average or ineffective to perform. Look at Boufal for Morocco. in his Southampton performances. He's nowhere near the player we're seeing at the World Cup. Same with Ziyech. You'd say the same for Di Maria. And, it allows the individual talents to flourish for as much as it's worth. What I am really looking forward to in this game is the offensive play of both sides. But something tells me that at the end of the day, one little thing that could tell this game is physicality. And not physicality in the Premiership sense where you really do have to be physical. You've got to be able to take the kicks and give the kicks and all the shoulder barges, the real physical contact. But I mean physicality in the sense of aerial presence, pace, stamina, resilience in midfield. I think the French just about edge that because they're a bit younger.
And France has been physical. The last 3 or 4 matches that I've watched them, they have been sticking the boot in also. They have been a physical presence. You're right about that. And it's noticeable. They always have been, but more so, I think, the last 3 or 4 matches.
Yeah, I must say, for me personally,
you're talking about France, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, I really have enjoyed watching Tchouaméni in their midfield.
Yeah.
What a miss from Chelsea. It's unforgivable that we didn't pick up that kid when we could. It's a sublime player.
But here's the thing, Bobby, if we're being honest, I know we missed a player there. Offensively, the offensive play is where he's excellent. But in terms of protecting the defense, if that's, that was why many Chelsea fans were looking at him. They think he'd be able to do the N'Golo Kante job, and I don't think he can. Offensively, he's excellent.
The trouble is he is doing the N'Golo Kante job. The N'Golo Kante job wasn't to protect the defense. It's to break up play.
I'm just trying to highlight how they differ. But most people think he is capable of fulfilling that aspect, that protection we get from N'Golo Kante, no matter where he plays on the pitch. You don't have that in him. That's not me saying he's a bad player, but go ahead.
I beg to differ. I think Tchouaméni has been the difference. I think against England, he single-handedly handled. I mean, one of the strengths of England is our midfield. Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham. Look, Tchouaméni took care of both of them, really, largely in the game. And I think offensively and defensively, he's the complete player. But what he's there for is to break up play like Kante did. The defensive midfielder in that French side is Rabiot. He's the one that sits back a lot. And Tchouaméni, you find, is breaking up play and setting up the offense. Look, how old is he? What, 22, 21, 22?
Yeah, he's still very young. Listen, I'm just saying.
He's got a long way to go, and he's fantastic.
He's given his age is done quite well. But for me, on the French side, I think the standout player there, maybe even you could say the most underrated of how well he's done in this World Cup is Griezmann for me.
Yeah.
He's run the show for them.
Yeah.
And he's been disciplined too, because for Atletico, he's an attacker literally.
Yeah,
Griezmann has been excellent. He's been the playmaker. He's been the old-fashioned number 10.
He's done it quite well. And surprisingly, I didn't know he was that good. A good part. He was that good in terms of how he can pass at the ball and how he can control the tempo of the game. He has good vision in him too. Just quickly, Angel Nature Lover says that looking forward to Messi. I'm looking forward to seeing again how he slugs it out with his teammate Mbappe. Mbappe will be looking to win this one to show he's the better player. Messi needs these to complete the set in his trophy cabinet. And Chama Yusuf says, good morning, Kachil and panel. Long time no see. And if memory serves me right, you said something about catching the sea, the dreaded sea. You know what it is. Again, I hope you're better now. I got sick myself. The whole household got sick. Everybody, I don't know why my boy brought home from school. And at some point, I got so scared, especially for the 1 year old. I couldn't believe I said,
Oh
no, I'm
yeah.
done. Yeah. And every time I feel like I've recovered, I'll come do a show and then it gets worse the next day because you need sleep to recover fully. But that's, by the way, nice to
The
see you.
full
And that
rest.
shows you're better. Again, it says, hey, again, I'm a new subscriber from Bangladesh. Support. Yep. Again, thank you very much. Again, a multi-click critic, multi-crick. Is that crick? Okay, multi-crick sports. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, and thank you for subscribing. We'll cover football again, and if you can cover football, Bangladesh football for us, you're welcome to join the panel anytime you have time. Where are you from? Again, I'm from the U.S. Bobby, was it Roger? You wanted to say something? Sorry.
No,
I was going to
go on.
say something about the fact that a weapon that the Argentines are going to use, and probably quite effectively, because they used it well against Portugal, is the dark arts.
Oh yeah.
They are going to
It
wind
is
you
that
up.
thing.
It's South
So yeah,
America.
It is that thing. Yeah, but that's some nice point there. Ty, how are you doing, brother? Okay, Ty. Okay, there you
Fuming
go.
still, but
Hey
Sorry.
Ty.
are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You said
Saying I'm
something I
still
didn't hear what you
fuming.
said.
I said I'm still fuming about what happened, but I'm still hoping that France doesn't win.
You said, oh, you want France to win.
No.
No, I
Oh,
said I
France
hope they
doesn't
don't
win.
win.
they said it doesn't
Oh,
want France to win.
Why are you
okay. Now,
fuming?
why are you filming, Ty?
Ah, France.
I think it has a bit of a connection issue
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Bobby, I don't know if I've asked you this question. Which of the two teams do you for you is a stronger side, and do you think will come out on top?
Do you want
Roger,
me
can
to?
you hear? I
Yeah, I
don't know
can hear.
if
Yeah, I can hear you.
so it's not me really. Roger, let me ask you this: do you think the fact that Messi plays for PSG and Kylian Mbappé also plays for PSG, do you think that that adds any sort of you could say pressure to the
No,
game? What do
no.
you think?
These chaps are professional. You know, they're able to separate league from nations. It's simple as that. I do realize that Mbappe is very young. He's going to be 24 this week, but
Mm.
he's old enough to understand that, you know, once they walk out on the pitch, that Messi is no longer his teammate; he's his foe, and
Oh, that's an
respectfully,
unspoken, you could say
yeah,
phenomenon. You don't
yeah. I
even
don't,
need to talk. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't,
It takes effect.
yeah, it can do, but I don't think so. I think with today today's athletes, these are finely tuned, lean, mean killing machines, so to speak. I say that in the politest way, obviously, in their respective sport.
Mhm.
And they're total professionals. And once they step over that white line, they know exactly what it's all about. I don't believe that will be a factor at all. Once that final whistle goes, then you'll see their friendship. Align, then you'll see one of each other commiserate each other sincerely in all likelihood. So other than that, no, I
But
don't think
it
it's a
doesn't
factor.
look like they have a good relationship,
Yeah,
we've heard so much about that.
yeah. You know what? I don't go by that. I don't know. It's hard to speculate. I want to bring one thing in. It's like I just hope the ref or VAR doesn't mess this game up, because that's one thing I have been disappointed in is VAR. It's not so much the referees; it's the lack of continuity. Even in the third place game yesterday, why there wasn't given a penalty, it was when it's that obvious. And there was that quarterfinal. Was it the Spanish referee? 14 yellow cards to players and one to a coach. It was. I just hope this ref knows. Has this ref ever refereed a major final before. I'm not familiar with this
He's
person.
not a ref, I know. Here's his name.
No,
I think it's Shimon Mashiniak.
Marcinet. Yeah,
It sounds Turkish.
could be. I just hope it's I just hope that person and the VAR room, because the VAR are just as important as the ref. I just hope that they they give the due quality that is deserved for this kind of epic match, that is warranted. I just hope that they're not the story at the end of the game. That's what I'm hoping for. Because this is one thing that has disappointed me, politics aside, is the fact that shocking the lack of continuity and the lack of quality in some of the refereeing games. You would think that in today's standards, the amount of money that FIFA have poured into. Now I understand, if you could put me as a referee, I would get so much wrong. I'm not saying I'm better than them. I don't wish to allude to that. Not at all. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
but it should be better for the amount of money and the systems that are involved, especially with VAR. It's shameful in some instances. So I just hope that doesn't come into play. That's my only, should we say, I don't know. I'm just fearful of it. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, again, to me, I don't know. Maybe I've not been paying attention.
Oh,
I think
seriously,
they
coach?
haven't. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been poor. It's been poor. I think the lads on the panel and the chaps in the chat room, I think they will concur. Don't get me wrong. There's been some great refereeing, but I've seen some shocking games also where the refs have.
That will always happen, but I
No,
don't
no,
think it's
no.
that rampant. This edition.
I respectfully beg to differ. I've seen maybe 90% of the matches, and I've come away appalled at some. And as I said, most of it has to do with VAR because it's shocking. Did you watch the game yesterday? That was a good example of it. It was, if you have it on tape where you see the contact in the box and it's a blatant foul. It's not even close, and they don't even review it. Don't even ask the ref to look at it. Then they're not doing their job. As simple as that. And I'm a complete 100% neutral in yesterday's game. Do you understand? It was just yes, but
Correct me
anyway,
if I'm wrong. Yeah, go ahead
yeah,
if you were saying something.
yeah. I just hope this goes down as a classic. I just fear it's going to be a very dull and strategic game. But I actually can't remember the last highly entertaining World Cup final that I've seen. I just really can't. I
I
can't
think
recall.
France '98 was.
Yeah. That's last century. That's large.
That's like a century away
Yeah, literally,
for you.
metaphorically, it's in another century. It's technically in another millennia too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Chama here says again, my family and I are fully recovered from the sea. Again, I hope you and your family are very well too, Kachila. Yes, again, we're much better right now. But again, maybe it's because of it was my first experience. I got so scared. But yeah, thank you so much for asking. Again, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure about the structure we're seeing here. Um, like I said, again, I don't know if you understood what I was trying to explain about Trumani. He's not the best in terms of shielding the defense. Offensively, I think you could say he's excellent, and he's capable of breaking up play too. But I think maybe with experience, he gets better at shielding the defense.
I
But
agree.
something else, yeah. So something else I want to talk about. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty. Argentina, they've been awful defending set piece.
Yes, they are.
Mm. And that becomes an issue for them. I was thinking maybe when I saw the probable lineup yesterday, I saw that Giroud had a knock, and maybe that he was doubtful for this game, and maybe will not start. I think Giroud starting makes it an even more difficult for
Yep.
them to tackle.
Yep. Because if you take into account the recent games, and we already know as Chelsea fans the how good Giroud can be in the air, and he can get
Mhm.
into positions and you don't even notice that he's there.
So
So
clinical.
yeah, so Argentina will have to be very attentive, and their defense is not really as young as it was before. They do have some players that are
Long
young
in
and
the
trying to go
tooth,
the
yeah.
younger route, but some of them they're also not really good early, and some of them are not really at the height to really prevent Giroud from making an impact. So it's going to be something that they'll have to keep an eye out for. I'm not just hoping that they don't focus only on him, and then that lets them neglect everybody else, and then that leaves them to be still open because they're trying to ensure that there's no aerial threat from Giroud.
Yep. Again, if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second to drop a like on the stream. Again, I appreciate you finding time to join. The more likes we get, the more people get to join us here. We have just a few minutes to round up, and then we will switch to the watch along. I want to talk about, to me, Arabia, his performance in this competition so far. Again, it's been in a club game. Again, in a club game like for his club, he's been awful of late. But this competition, this edition of the World Cup, wow, he's been excellent. He's been one of the best players, really.
Yeah.
And again, he's a player. I'm not too sure whether I want him at Chelsea, but he's a fine player, really. He's a player that would have done well on that. Thomas Tuchel, given how Thomas Tuchel wants to play, but I'm not sure really. But again, I like him. I like Rabiot, but my standout player for the French national team is being Griezmann.
Yeah.
For the Argentine side, nobody takes away that from Leo Messi. Even though you could still see again, he doesn't have that. You could still see that again. He's not at that level that he was when he won again back to back Ballon d'Or and all that. But you can still see him pushing. He wants to win it. He's done. He's surprised me in this tournament. Really, lots of running in most cases. Although he reserves his energy, then every now and then you see that burst of energy, and usually comes to again produces which usually ends in good productivity. But let me ask you this question, output, so to speak. These two teams, I forget what paper says. I know you know the teams very well. The Argentine players, you can say we don't know too much. Nobody knew. People don't know them that well. Didn't know them that well until the competition started. Alvarez, how well he's done, Fernandez, and all that. I was expecting the likes of Paredes. What's his name? This guy, because he's a good passer of the ball, even from deep. He's the deep line midfielder. I was expecting him to be starting over either of the two guys here, but that hasn't happened. Ty, which of the teams do you say is a stronger side and well equipped to win this match?
Honestly, with a look only on the lineup, I would probably have to say that France, based on the structure that they have, based on the personalities that they do have, and how those players have been doing since the tournament started,
Mm.
particularly Griezmann and Rabiot. Well, obviously Chouameni as well, but Rabiot has really stepped up in the absence of certain midfielders that would surely have kept him on the bench for most of the games. And I mean, Griezmann has made that midfield position his own, and he's been quite effective for them, playing as the CAM and or as CM based on the structure that's showed there. But I
Mhm.
think they look more equipped. They look more like like the team that has enough to win it. But I don't really think that the lineup alone will determine it. But based on the lineup, I would have to say France because they have the structure, they have the players that can ensure that there's perfect balance from the defense to the attack.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't think I don't think the lineup alone will win it. I think the better you could say a tactical side will win this game. Do you see, and what do you think? If do you think if Germany? I don't think this is a structure for the French national team. If Germany plays as a lone six there, I think he won't be effective enough.
No, he's never been.
What?
He's never been effective like that. He's never. When he was at Monaco, he wasn't as effective like that. He always needed somebody. He does even if the structure was not per se a 4-3-3. If it was
Mhm.
off, more of a 4-1-4-1. You still need someone that will drop to support him as well. So yes, he can sit in front of the defense, but he also needs to have somebody where if he wants to progress forward, which is what he's known for, because he's equipped offensively, he knows how to get in the positions and take a shot. So that means that he needs somebody to support him. So he can't be that disciplined and tame. So he needs somebody. So I think as the sole DM, if you want to say that, or sole midfielder there, I think he won't be as effective, and I think he'll be outnumbered quite easily because he can be shaky when he's put under pressure from more than one player.
Yep, I think you're very correct. He always does better when he has somebody alongside him. He's just again, you could say to me, he's more of a Paul Pogba type of player than he is a N'Golo Kante type of player. Um, they're two different players. If anything, he's closer to playing the way like Paul Pogba played than N'Golo Kante. But that's by the way, Roger. Let me ask you this. I know you've talked about it a bit. Just quickly before we talk about something else. I'd like us to end 5 minutes before the start of the game so that I can prepare to
Sure.
watch along. Why do you think? Finals are usually boring.
Pressure.
Group games are more. You can say group games are more exciting. But the penalties make the knockout stages more exciting. But group games are more. You could say teams are more adventurous than they usually are. That we usually see in the final. It's usually more about tactics. Teams being a bit more cautious, not to concede first and all that. It makes it a very boring game in most cases. Why do you think that is?
Because of the pressure. It's the realization that this is the final game. It's win or go home. That's it. There is no more games in this World Cup. It's the finality of it all, and it hits home. So based on the fact that this game is inherently a very low scoring sport compared to, let's say, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have that greater opportunity of scoring a plethora of goals, generally speaking. So therefore, based on that, you want to minimize any mistakes, and you want to come out, and hate to mention this, but it's like a boxing fight. The first couple of rounds, you want to jab, you want to feel your opponent out, you want to check out your distance, your punching range, etc. It's the same thing applies in a final. It's too big to lose. The shirt becomes very heavy for the players and the staff, the entire squad, so to speak. It's that important to them that they look at it, they approach it negatively, and this is human nature applying itself. That's all it is. Very rarely you'll come out with like one maybe midfielder, and you'll have like 5-6 attacking players. That's just not going to happen. Because you have to understand the team that's reached this final, their opponents are very good. They have to be to have reached the final, generally speaking. So this is the approach they take. It's the mindset, which is sad because, as I said, you look at the third place game, and the chains are off. You can tell that they're playing for yes, they're playing for third, but it's so much stress is relieved, and they are so much better than the finals.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Again, overall, the fact that it's a one-off game, there's no second chance. You lose, you lose.
Sure. If it was a World Series, like best of 7, then it would be different, unless it's 3-3,
Yeah,
then that's different. Because it's a one-off, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, again, teams are very cautious not to concede first and all that.
That's an understatement, coach.
Yeah. Something else I want to say that here is this. Again, the fact that France, that you say they have about eight of the previous World Cup winners in this squad.
Yeah.
That again, does that give them any measure of edge going into the game?
To a certain extent, yes, because most of Argentina's squad have never played in a final. The vast majority of them. And look, you're looking at just under a third have played for France. So they're going to have substantially more experienced players. So you've been there, you've done that, And it's that matters. That really does matter.
That makes a difference, yeah.
Yes, it does. It's a factor. It's a small edge. That doesn't mean that Argentina can't win, but it does bode as an advantage for France in that regard, because no matter what your field is, you can't buy experience.
Yeah, experience is what it is really. Again,
I just hope it
I'm
doesn't go to penalties. Because I don't know about you, chaps, but I've never agreed. I've never liked. Listen, as a neutral, when you're watching two teams, whether it be in a League Cup or whatever the tournament is, it's exciting as a neutral. But I just don't believe this kind of match, this final, should not be played on penalties. I think after 120 minutes, then they should reschedule it for 4 days later, then play again. And then after all of that, then go to penalties. But it's because of money with TV scheduling. It never used to be like this. I've never liked it. But I would like to see it one. It's like the Super Bowl. If they decide it only on field goal kickers. It's just I'm a traditionalist, perhaps showing my age, but I just hope it doesn't go to penalties, because the person that misses a kick, if they do miss it, they're vilified for the rest of their life, and it taints their career, which is unfair because the pressure must be immense. So
yeah. For me, before I come to you and ask you, Ty, what type of game you expect. For me, I think. But before I do that, I want to say hello to Dan. Dan, again, I feel so much better, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding time to join. He says, Merry Xmas to you in advance. And thank you so much for finding time to join. For me, again, I'm going to say I expect
Hey,
a
Dan.
dodgy game. Sorry?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
saying hello, Dan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I expect a very dodgy game. I expect Olivier Giroud to score with a header. I expect an assist from Dembele. Even though, like I said, I don't know. Maybe some people think otherwise. I think he's been very poor in this World Cup. Overall, now let me say, again, he's gotten the job done, but I don't think we've seen the type of,
Dembele.
yeah. To me,
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen the type of, you could say, output we see from him at Barcelona. I
He's
don't
been
think he's been.
inconsistent.
Sorry?
He's been inconsistent.
Yeah, he's been inconsistent in this World Cup. It's been poor in some games, actually. I expect him to get an assist today. I expect Olivier Giroud to score a header. Because Argentina, like I've said, they've been poor in terms of defending set piece.
Yeah.
But again, I expect to see you could say probably a good game towards the end. Whenever both teams know it's coming to an end, I don't know who's going to be losing or whether it will be a draw at that point. But that would be goals. I think Argentina get goals because France, they've been awful defensively. I think they got better since Varane came into the fold. But before that, Upamecano, as much as he's done well, I think sometimes he makes some rash decisions. Even Hernandez has been poor.
Hernandez, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Against England, I was like, I honestly didn't expect. I expected probably England to lose, but I didn't expect England to be the better team. And I say this as a neutral because if you look at the stats and you look at the actual game, England actually were the better team in so many of the statistics. And I'm thinking, I thought that their back line would dominate. I thought that they did not resemble a World Cup winning team. Hernandez was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't look too good. They didn't look good against Morocco either, to be honest with you. But having said that, you have to give them kudos that they could absorb this kind of, how do they say it, quote unquote, suffering, for them to win. I don't know. They've been fortuitous to a certain extent, and I say that complimentary wise because it does take a knack of being able. Listen, Chelsea did it against Man City, if you recall. We're absorbing a lot of punishment,
Mm-hmm.
So it does take a knack, and I get both sides of the coin. But yeah, I expected their back line to be better.
Yeah, just quickly, and I'm gonna
been.
end. I'm gonna end this one. We don't have too much time because I need to prepare for the watch along show in the same channel. And I'm gonna share the link in the chat. Big up to the Other Time podcast, my brother. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. I will share the link to the other again to the watch along show. So if you haven't, please go drop a like to help us reach more people. And if you haven't, drop a like on this particular show here. So, Roger, what do you think the outcome would be? For me, I'm not sure, really. I'm just going to say this. I think France will end up being too strong.
Yes.
for Argentina. You could say Argentina for those games they've won. You could say they've been, as much as they've done well to win their games. You could say sometimes down to poor defending from the opponent. But I think France will be too strong for them. I don't know what the outcome would be. Ty, you have any final thoughts so we can call it a day? And Roger, quickly, what do you think the outcome of the game would be?
I have no idea, but I think I think probably France. I agree with everything you just said, but then again, I've been wrong so often this World Cup. I can see it going both ways. I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm just being honest with you. But if I had to pick one winner, I'd probably say France.
And you don't know what the outcome will be, really. Okay, how about you, Ty?
I am hoping that Argentina is just able to nick it. And I'm hoping that despite their lineup being the worst of the two, that they'll be able to do something.
So you want Argentina to win?
Yeah.
Yes, and I think will be decided by one goal as well. I'm not sure what the scoreline will be, but I think will be decided by one goal.
All right. Again, with that, I want to say thank you, guys. You see the link to the Watch Along show. I hope you can find time to join us there. See you guys there if you have time. I know, Roger, you don't do Watch Along. Ty, if you have time. If not, I understand, brother, and I'll speak with you later. Thank you so much, guys, for finding time to join the show. I appreciate you guys. See you guys next time, and bye.
Thank you. Enjoy the match.